Let's start with dissatisfaction with yourself. This manifests itself in dissatisfaction with your achievements and qualities, as well as active rejection of your shortcomings. You may be aware of your flaws, but not particularly complex about them. But if shortcomings haunt you and become of great importance, excessive potential is created. Balancing forces immediately spring into action to eliminate this potential. Their action may be directed at developing strengths or fighting weaknesses. The person, as a result, leans in one direction or the other. Most often, a person chooses to fight, and this position turns against them. It is useless to hide flaws, but difficult to eliminate them. The result is exactly the opposite, and the situation becomes even worse. For example, in trying to hide their shyness, a person becomes even more timid, or vice versa, excessively bold. If a person is dissatisfied with their achievements only to the extent that it serves as an impetus for self-improvement, the balance is not disturbed. At the same time, the surrounding world is not affected, but the internal change in balance is compensated for by positive actions. If a person begins to self-flagellate, offend themselves, or even worse, punish themselves, then a dangerous case of dispute between the soul and the mind arises. After all, the soul did not deserve such an attitude. She is self-sufficient and perfect. All the faults she has acquired are flaws of the mind, not of the soul. However, this is such a vast and complex topic that it deserves a separate book. Here we will only note that fighting with yourself is extremely useless. The soul will withdraw into itself, and reason will prevail, as a result of which complete discord in life may occur, so that you don't have to go to a psychoanalyst later. First of all, let go and forgive all shortcomings. If you still can't love yourself, at least stop fighting with yourself and accept yourself as you are. Only in this case will the soul be an ally of the mind. And this is a very powerful ally. Well, okay, you say, I'll leave all my flaws alone. But how can I acquire advantages? Can't I stop myself from developing? Of course, develop your merits as much as you want. After all, it's just a matter of ending the war with our shortcomings. In such a war, you spend energy on maintaining excessive potential that is not so much useless as highly harmful. When you finally give up this struggle, the energy released will be used to develop your merits. Even though all this sounds simple to the point of banality, many people spend colossal energy fighting with themselves and hiding their flaws. They, like titans, condemn themselves to bear this useless burden throughout their lives. As soon as they allow themselves to be themselves and let go of a heavy burden, life will immediately become easier and easier. Energy will be diverted from the fight against disadvantages to the development of virtues. Moreover, the parameters of such radiation correspond to lifelines where advantages prevail over disadvantages. Think, for example, how can you move to the lifeline, where you are in good physical shape if all your thoughts revolve only around your physical disabilities? You get what you actively do not want. If, in case of dissatisfaction with yourself, you come into conflict with your soul, in case of dissatisfaction with the world, you come into confrontation with a large number of pendulums. You know that it is not good to be influenced by them, and it is better not to think about war with them at all. Your dissatisfaction is a completely material radiation, whose frequency is well suited to those lifelines where what you are dissatisfied with is even more pronounced. You are drawn to these lines. You become even more dissatisfied, and this continues until you reach the line where you are a sick old man, powerless to change anything. All that remains is to find comfort in complaining about this world, along with others like you, and in memories of how everything was fine in the old days. Third, if misfortune has truly struck, which is generally not something to rejoice about, you can take an example from King Solomon. He wore a signet ring on his hand, turned inward, so that no one could see what was there. When Solomon faced a problem or an unsolvable issue, he turned the ring and looked at the seal. There was an inscription, "This too shall pass." The habit of expressing dissatisfaction developed among humanity under the influence of destructive pendulums that feed on negative energy. With a new habit, You will generate positive energy that will move you toward positive lifelines in a powerful current. Let's say you were inspired by the prospect and began practicing the replacement technique. I must tell you that you will soon find yourself doing this less and less regularly, and from time to time, you will simply forget that you wanted to change the habit. This is inevitable because the habit is deeply ingrained. As soon as you give up the slack, the pendulum will immediately find a reason to bother you, and you yourself will not notice how you feed it with your energy. Don't despair. If your intention is solid, you will get your way, and the destructive pendulums will eventually leave you alone. You just need to remind yourself of your intention more often. We are all guests in this world. No one has the right to condemn what they have not created. This statement should be understood in the light of the relationship with pendulums. As already mentioned, if you oppose the destructive pendulum that causes your discontent, you will only make yourself worse. You don't need to be a meek sheep, but you also shouldn't enter into open confrontation with the outside world. If the pendulum is against you personally, you can use the immersion or buffering method. If a pendulum is trying to drag you into a battle with another pendulum, you need to be aware of whether you personally need it.